Hello everybody, this is Cabbage Games, and welcome back to another preliminary information on a Crossout update. So this one is gonna drop on the 28th, so that's 5 days from now, so next Thursday I think it is. They are gonna release 0.10.40, and these are all dedicated to April the 1st and the events around it, and there was also some balance changes. Of course, these developer blocks are not final, may change, and that's it. Let's go into the first new part here. Dude, where'd you get the car? Is a new brawl mode, or well, a returning brawl mode from last year, where it's a free for all, where you get random builds that are really wonky. And this is an example, but some other builds do include pretty effective hurricane or otherwise pyre mounted on hovers like fighter jets, etc. So there is some kind of luck involved with this one, depending on what build you get, because basically every time you die, you get a random different craft, and the first player to destroy 10 opponents or destroy the most opponents before the time expires wins this little brawl. And it's in the same map as the Invasion game mode. So if you have never played Invasion, be sure to check out the map really quick because it's unique to that game mode. So you know what kind of map you'll be playing in. And this will only last from April the 1st to April the 3rd, inclusive both days. And the list of crops for Brawl has been updated and expanded. So there are going to be more and more updated variants of the ones from last year. You can get unique decor and stickers for completing the special tasks related to the Brawl. And they're also adding a new audio setting, which I think is really cool. Dynamic range, which has three options for sound. Normal is as it is right now. Extended is high dynamic range audio, which means that whenever you get a loud sound, such as a cannon hitting you or when you fire a cannon, stuff like that, they will be louder, and background sounds will be suppressed when that sound is played. So, for example, if a case when an ally nearby passes through the bushes and a projectile from the cannon hits you at that very same moment, you'll only hear the projectile, not the bush. You also get the night option, which is even handier, actually, I think. It actually lowers the volume of all the loud sounds. So kind of use your headphones, but sometimes you don't want to disturb the people around you with the sounds of the game. In thanks to this mode, the loud sounds become quieter, and the quiet ones remain at the same level. So this is also something where like you are using voice chat in some kind of way, and you have speakers that the loud sounds will be picked up less by the microphone for voice chat. So I think I'm gonna make people use this mode if they have a microphone and a speaker basically when they're voice chatting. Here's another picture of a build for the brawl mode, which looks really funky as a lawnmower, and spider legs here as well. And now up to balance changes. So first up, the breaker is getting an increase in weapon durability, which is pretty simple, but the current damage output of the breaker is pretty on the low side compared to the hammerfall. So this will not really make it any better right now. Still a weapon that you will never really see in game by normal players other than maybe promotional account users because it's just so bad and at the same time so expensive. Just not worth it. Now Harvester is gonna change its perk a little bit. So for that I actually got the game loaded. So for the ones that are Sleep Gonna Rock, the Harvester is currently one of the most overpowered weapons in the game, which has a perk that says damage increases by 40% for each second of contact, stacks up to 5 times. And now they will be changing it. The new version will increase the damage dealt only to those enemies who are under influence of negative effects. So armored car slowdown from weapons like Spark, disabled cargo controls from Typhoon, reputation speed slowdown or disabling from things like Hammerfall and Impulse and the Punisher, or part heating from Mandrake, Incinerator, or Aurora. But what I think will happen is the basically when you have contact, it has a you have like 1 second gap where the player cannot not have contact with the harvester right now. You have to keep contact. If you are lose contact with your enemy for a second, then you lose the buff. But with this, they're basically saying you will only get the buff when one of these things are applying. So if you have like a spark, you use it, you get the buff, but as soon as your spark overheats, it's gonna take more than a second to cool down, and I think then you will lose your damage effect. So this is more or less a damage nerf across the board for a harvester, but especially at low and medium power score. Because the main problem associated with harvesters, they use at low power score and a high efficiency of the gun in such battles. Funny how they say gun. Well, it's not really a gun, but anyways. Task is reduce the effectiveness at low power score and maintain current performance medium and higher power score. So this will slightly reduce the effectiveness medium and high power score, but while actually significantly reducing the effectiveness low power score, because generally there you um, don't actually really need the damage buff, but it does come in really handy. Because again, 5 times 40%, that's actually 200%, so that's 3 times the base damage, because it is increases by 40% from the base 100%. So that adds up to a total of three times the normal damage for the harvester. But that is something they will no longer get a very low power score, because they would have to use some kind of spark, or actually get a second player in that uses a spark and somehow do it like that. Anyways, tracks and augers are getting some more love with an increased reverse speed, which I'm all fan of. I still want to see a slightly better turn speed for tracks and augers alike, because they're still pretty slow, except for the Goliath, because those are still way too strong actually. Like, the small tracks are not strong enough, the big tracks are too strong. It's really weird. Um, but yeah. Radar Oculus 6 now adds the display of Capcan mines and invisible enemies on the map and minimap if they are within the range of the radar. So the Oculus also now shows Capcan mines, which is really handy. Like, as far as I know, they did not show Capcan mines on them like at all with the Oculus. But now they both do show Capcan mines and invisible enemies, and they also put it on the minimap. And then Shotgun, Hammerfall are changing the unique feature. Now when the vehicle passes a certain distance, you probably want to grab yourself some Bigfoots for the ones that are not using them, because increases traffic counter by 50%, depending the share of Bigfoot wheels among the moving parts. So if you go full on Bigfoot, you will charge up 50% faster, which will help at any of these kind of weapons. And the shotgun will accumulate 1 charge. The number of charges will be limited, but with each shot, the charges will be spent. So I think like if you have 3 charges max, you travel around, get the 3 charges, and then you have 3 shots that are charged. And each charge will be spent, and hitting the enemy will be guaranteed to turn off the rotation of guns. So if you do it right and you stagger your both guns and you have 3 charges, you can basically time your shots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and keep an enemy blocked with the gun rotation for quite a while. But in return, you have a reduced damage output. So maybe we will see a combination of Hammerfall and Thunderbolt now. So like, you use the Hammerfall for 3 separate shots, while in the meantime, while unloading with the Thunderbolts, and both actually now have the travel based perks. So they also like synergize in that way now. So that would be definitely going to be an interesting thing to see how that works out. And then finally, we got the grenade launcher impulse, change of the perk as well. After the update, overheating rate of the weapon will decrease if the armored vehicle does not move. So if you're standing still, your amount of heat generated per shot will be lower instead of the randomized perk. Because the developer comment is we would like to phase out perks with random triggers because they do not allow the player to fully control their actions in battle. And after the changes of Hammerfall and Impulse, the player will also be able to assess the situation and use the perks when he needs to. And due to the announced balance changes, they are disabling the limit on the sale of recently acquired parts at a lower price for 24 hours. This is basically, oh wait, Harvester got a nerf, so it will lower in value. Maybe people want to sell their Harvester even if they recently acquired it because it's getting nerfed before the price goes like way lower. And some people might consider this Hammerfall perk to be a nerf or a buff, I don't know, or with the impulse. So they basically disabled that for a little while. And anticipating possible questions, we note in advance that the arrival of the Night Riders is expected in early April. The arrival will be accompanied by a separate update. So this is not going to be the Night Riders update. They already confirmed it to be like early April. And I highly suspect it to be the first Thursday of April, and I think that's like the um 5th or something. But yeah, that's really all that I have for now, guys. Definitely some interesting balance changes. I am pretty happy that they are like putting it in a separate patch instead of like waiting with the Night Riders for the balance patch. Although they are adding the April Fools event anyway, so they might as well put it in here, I guess. But like still putting some balance changes, even minor ones like these, although some of them you might not consider this as minor, is really nice. And the sound is just like the like improved graphics from recently is gonna be nice quality of life upgrade here. That said, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Bye guys.